got to be a dozen snakes in there at least.
আছে আছে এখানেই আছে তুই ফুটে ছিল আছে এখানেই আছে গের ফেতে দিছিল আছে এখানেই আছে গের ফেতে না মোরো আচ্ছা 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 এই যে পকড়া দে
He's got it, he's got it, he's got it. Suddenly this man's bedroom felt very small. Hey, look, I don't actually want to be in this room with them anymore. Yeah, there are two. And it felt a lot smaller when they found the mate. And to my horror, instead of killing them, the baddies started showing off. Yeah, well, just get rid of them, guys. What do you do now? What are they supposed to be doing now?
Oh, Lord!
If I was bitten by one of these, how long before I die?
20 মিনিটের ভিতর আপনারা মারা যাবেন
God, that's pleasant. 20 minutes and you're dead. That's what he said.
20 minutes was no time, but the baddie reckoned they knew what to do.
As soon as they're bitten, they tie the limb and then they cut themselves, press out the blood, and take either iron or cigarette butts or something and burn the area.
Right. Cauterize it. I was glad to see the cobras finally packed away, and to be frank, I didn't feel any better about snakes at all. The next day I switched to four-wheel drive for the last leg of my journey through Bangladesh up to the Indian border. And, predictably enough, no rain. So far my Calcutta Mac had been a total waste of money.
It's not really monsoon.
I've seen more rain in Oxford, where I live.
There are areas here which would be underwater from June, and these areas are practically dry now.
I'm not sure about dry, Rena. I mean, they're still pretty wet. I'd heard reports that the monsoon was hitting everywhere else. It just kept missing me. 2 days after I'd left Calcutta, the city had been inundated. Facing the imminent prospect of a dry time in the wettest place on earth, I arrived at the border. Runa, thank you very much for everything.
I'm sorry about the rains, but you know how it is.
Yeah,
could do nothing about it.
She tried her hardest, didn't quite deliver. Thank you very much, Pepe.
He'll cross the border and he'll get rain, not to worry.
All the best wishes.
Bye-bye, Nick.
Bye, Nick.
With my fingers firmly crossed, I went back into India. By this stage on my journey to the wettest place on earth, I was meant to have been soaked for a week. But it hadn't happened. My next rendezvous was with the rangers at the Kaziranga National Park. On their 3-month tours of duty, these rangers spend weeks out in the open, and I wanted to find out how they handle life actually in the rain. All set? We're all here? I was going back to nature, to experience the monsoon in the raw. But as we headed into the heart of the park, the monsoon had done yet another disappearing act. The sun was shining, and even the drizzle was gone. As soon as we arrived at the camp, Negru prepared my feet for wading. The paste, made from ground henna leaves, toughens the skin.
20-30 days.
This stuff would stop my feet and toenails from rotting in the fetid swamp. The rangers spend most of their time patrolling, on the lookout for poachers and injured animals. It was obviously an unpleasant and dangerous existence, but all I could think about was the lack of rain. Have you had much rain in the park this year?
You're saying that, there's been less rain this year, so if there's more rain, we had to swim across.
Oh, right. So we're lucky. It's a minor flood. I put a brave face on it, but without the rain, the exercise seemed pointless and loathsome, even before the leeches got me. I've lost my shoe. How about actually getting it off rather than just watching it? Can we move it? Get rid of it.
Oh no, look! Got 3 on me.
The rangers just ripped the leeches off. It's the quick method, but risky.
Get off.
The jaw can break off in your skin and cause infection. Burning them off with a cigarette is a better technique, but funnily enough, my matches were soaking.
My shoes.
The rangers are more concerned with poachers than leeches. This park is home to over 1,000 Indian rhinoceroses, whose horns can have a street value of $35,000. With stakes that high, the rangers shoot first and ask questions later.
Hey, run, run, run! Bula, bula, bula!
Luckily, this was just a rhino. But it wasn't very reassuring to hear that if it had charged, the only thing the rangers would have done is to shoot in the air to scare it away.
They're not permitted to shoot directly at the rhinos.
No, of course not, yeah.
Back at the camp, our close encounter with the rhino got the rangers talking about previous near misses. None of them came nearer than Negru, whose arm, ever since a rhino bit it, was held together by steel plates.
There's an irony in the fact that you are risking your life to save the rhinos, but sometimes the rhinos turn around and nearly kill you.
Yes.
It's rather an unpleasant climate, I have to say, hot and sweaty. My clothes are always damp. Even if I haven't been wading, I just sweat buckets. During the day, you've got to be thinking about those big, fat, slimy leeches all the time. And as soon as you relax and the sun goes down, out come the mosquitoes. And there's no rain again. That night, the rangers told me the park was suffering its worst drought in 15 years. I was beginning to think I'd never need my Calcutta Mac.
But there's been less rain, so the water's stagnant, and so there have been more leeches.
More leeches
Yes.
with that? Oh, God. I really have timed it right, haven't I? I missed the rain, and there are more leeches because of it. Great.
I'd hit rock bottom and decided to leave Kaziranga ahead of schedule and get onto the Kazi Hills, where surely my luck would change.
Oh, yeah.
The Kazi Hills get so much rain because not only are they the first obstacle that the monsoon air hits after the plains of Bangladesh, but also they lie at an almost perfect right angle to the flow of that air. This sodden air mass rises over the hills, cools and unloads staggering amounts of rain on Mawsynram and Cherrapunji, which for years had vied for the title of wettest town on earth. At least, that's what's supposed to happen.
Just waiting. But here it is.
We haven't had a very good monsoon.
You haven't
the way
either.
we're supposed to.
My translator for this leg of the journey was a straight-talking Kazi woman named Dulcie Walang. We were heading for Mawsynram, the current wettest town on earth, and as we climbed, things at last began to look good. Gigantic waterfalls meant that there must be some kind of precipitation up above, and then we hit fog.
Visibility is about 10 metres, isn't it? Do you think we'll actually make it to Mawsynram?
Up here, the monsoon brought different, new hazards. We passed two trucks that had run each other off the road in the thick fog.
You've been waiting for the rain for so long.
Oh, too long. I nearly went balmy in Bangladesh.
After another 20 kilometres, Dulcie suddenly decided we should stop and admire the view.
So there you are, Nick. Your first view of Mawsynram.
Oh, yeah. Wow. It's a really spectacular place. I can't see anything. It's a cloud.
That's the whole point, remember? It's the wettest place on earth. On a clear day, you'll be seeing, from this distance, you'll see a couple of churches. And
I'll believe you, Dulcie. I'll believe you. Thousands wouldn't, but I'll believe you.
For a brief moment, the fog broke up, and I glimpsed a church and some houses clinging to a hillside. Then the town melted away again. It was the only view I ever got of the wettest place on earth. Mawsynram is inhabited by one of the many distinct hill tribes that populate the northeast of India. The Kazis are thought to have migrated here from Cambodia or Thailand centuries ago. And here they've lived undisturbed until the arrival of Scottish and Welsh missionaries in the early 1800s, who converted most of them to Christianity. Up here, umbrellas will do, but I set my sights on a canup.
Tell you what do you want to buy from her? She has fruits, she
I
has...
need one of these.
She says it's 25 rupees. What will you do with it, Nick?
Just to keep me dry with, of course. Can I try a big one? Doesn't it? It's very effective. What do you reckon, Dulcie?
I think if you remove the raincoat and wear one of those shawls that the locals are wearing, maybe then you know,
I might have
just
something.
blend with the
Yeah.
crowd.
So it's curiously echoey in here as well. Yeah.
In spite of Dulcie's patent lack of enthusiasm, I wanted one of the tartan shawls too. They've been here ever since the missionaries.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not superstitious, but barely 20 minutes after discarding my Calcutta Mac, it finally happened. I'd waited a long time for this rain. Now it had come. It was every bit as satisfying as I'd hoped.
Come on,
Dulcie
let's try
introduced
get
me
out of
to a
the rain.
Kazi family who had agreed to put us up. But just as I thought I'd get out of the rain, Manilin's husband, Roy, suggested I join him on his rounds. Dulcie had arranged for us to stay with Mawson Ram's pork butcher.
Is it because no one will come to your market stall, Roy? So you have to go to them during the monsoon?
Generally, they do come, but it's seldom. And another point is they sell it at a lesser rate, that is from the market.
Well, in that case, I wouldn't bother going to the market at all. I'd just wait for him
Yes,
to come
Nick,
to me.
provided, of course, there is some leftover meat. You might just be left with no meat.
On days of heavy rain like this, farms and mines shut up shop, workers don't get paid, and everyone tightens their belts. With fewer people at the market, Roy has to hawk his leftover pork chops door to door. But after visiting 2 houses, he'd had enough. And, passing future pork chops on the way, it was time to go home and dry off.
It's waterproof ink, but the paper's starting to fall to bits.
Fires stave off the damp, and wood is kept dry beneath the floorboards. But, even though they burn all day, keeping everyone warm, dry and healthy is a struggle.
Over the shower. Is it a problem keeping things fresh during the monsoon?
So they buy the meat and then they dry it there over the fire. That's got smoke in it. Would you like to try some of that?
Yes, please. If
Fresh meat only lasts a day in this humidity, but smoking it over the fire keeps it edible for a couple more.
And I think I'm going to enjoy it here. And people are quite reserved until you smile at them and then they smile back. It's an extraordinary place. I've never been anywhere like it before because you do feel as if you're living in the clouds half the time. Until it starts raining, which it's done a lot of. Great.
The roofs of the houses in Mawson Ram were wired to the ground to stop them being torn loose in the high winds up here. And Roy's youngest son, Venison, had put together some ingenious bamboo plumbing to divert the rain inside. It was a simple wet season water supply. But amazingly, things in the dry season here are very different. It's hard to believe, but for 8 months of the year, Mawson Ram suffers water